Today in our 2017 GMC Acadia, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Blue Ox base plate kit with removable arms, part number BX1728. This is what it looks like with your base plate installed. You can see it's pretty hidden behind your bumper. It's not going to stick out much past your license plate. It's going to give you all the proper mounting points for any other accessories that you're going to put on. It's also going to come with removable arms. Simply pull the clip, twist it, and it comes out. It also comes with a cap to replace that removable arm. To put your removable arm in, simply push it in until it pushes the pin, twist it until it locks in place. This is built to spread the weight evenly to minimize the weight put on the suspension of the vehicle. It's adaptable for use with Roadmaster tow bars with Roadmaster tow bar adapter, part number RM-031 or RM-031-5, which are going to be sold separately. Now, this being custom fit, it installs fairly easily. Minimal drilling you have to do. It's going to bolt directly to your chassis. Now that we've gone over some of the features, we'll show you how to get it installed. To begin our installation, we need to remove our bumper fascia. In order to do that, we're going to have 7 T15 torque screws that run across the top right here in the center. In 2 spots across here, you're going to have 2 of them. You're going to want the one that's holding this down. If you look at this other one, there's a hole around it, so we're not going to be taking that one out. Next, we're going to have 4 T15 torque screws along the inside of the fender well towards the front of the vehicle, and you're going to remove these on both sides of the vehicle. The next step in our instructions is to remove the one screw that is connecting these 2 panels right here. In order to do that, to make it easier, we're going to have 2 screws on the very bottom down here that we're going to remove. We'll be using a 7mm socket. What that is going to do, it's going to give this a little extra flex to get that tab out from in there. We're using a 7mm socket. You're going to do the same thing on the other side of the vehicle. Next, underneath the vehicle, we're going to have 6 more screws along the front underside of the bumper. We'll be using a 7mm socket. You're going to have one in this corner. Now with an extra set of hands, we're going to gently start pulling the front fascia off. Keep in mind, if your car has sensors, you're going to have wires underneath behind the bumper that you're going to have to detach before you can pull this completely off. We're going to start from the outside. We'll start popping it out. Now, in order to remove this, you're going to have a red tab here. You want to take this red tab completely off. You're going to rotate this back. Like that. Next thing we're going to need to do is we need to remove this piece right here. So we're going to cut right along this line, right down this edge. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to trim this panel here. So I'm going to take out these top 2 screws just to pull it away from our radiator here. Use a 7mm socket. Then we're going to take a Dremel tool, reciprocating saw, and we're going to cut right along this edge. Now you can see I switched over to a cutting bit. My wheel was not getting in there close enough. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. With an extra set of hands, we'll put our base plate into place. You notice here on the passenger side, you're going to have a hose. There's a gap in your base plate that the hose will slide into. There's a hole right here on the front of this bracket, or on your base plate. There's a hole right up here on top of the frame. You need to line those 2 holes up, and you want to clamp your base plate to this piece right here along the underside of the frame. Once you have your hole lined up, you're going to take one of your handle nuts and you're going to have to bend it to get it inside and over top of this hole. So you can take your 3/8 hex bolt, a split lock washer, and we're going to feed it up and bolt it right into that. Next, we're just going to bend this. Once you have your handle nut bent to where this is going to thread in correctly and not crooked, we're going to take our washer, put it on our bolt. Then we're going to take some red Loctite and put it on the threads. And you're going to want to put this red Loctite on all of your hardware that you're putting on this plate. So now we're going to take our handle nut, feed it in through the front, thread it up in through the plate into the handle nut until it's tight, and then we'll do the other side. Once you have the handle nuts on both sides and bolts in, you take a 15mm socket and we're going to tighten these two front ones up. Once you have those tight, you can remove your clamps from both sides. We're going to mark these 3 holes to be drilled. And we're going to do this on both sides of the vehicle. So I'm going to take a 3" drill bit. I'm going to first drill this hole here on the top. Then I'm going to get my bolt. I'm going to put my bolt in here, tighten it up this way before I do the 2 bottom holes. That way I'm pulled all the way up and my holes line up on the bottom. We'll take a 3/8" drill bit and we're going to mark the center of our hole. And we're going to take a smaller drill bit to drill a pilot hole. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of our handle nuts. We're going to go back through the same hole to this back hole here. See if we can't get it into place here. Let's make sure we can get it bent right so it's going to thread all the way in. Take some Loctite on your threads. Go ahead and tighten it down. Now we can drill 2 holes in the sides. Once you drill your pilot hole, you'll finish it with a 3/8 drill bit. With these, we're going to put a lock nut on the inside here. Next, in your kit, you're going to get a C bracket like this. This hose here on the passenger side, we're just going to lift up like this. We're going to line it up with the 2 holes. We're going to take the same bolt setup, 3/8 hex bolt, split washer, and a lock nut. We're going to put it in the top and the bottom. This. Next, you're going to take this bracket, and if you see this frame extension right here, you're going to take these 2 round holes. They're going to line up on the inside of these 2. And you're going to take this U-bolt like this. You're going to go underneath the frame extension, set that on top, back behind here. I'm going to take a split washer and a lock nut. Next we'll use a 14mm socket and wrench, and we'll tighten all of our hardware. Once you have everything tightened down, you'll torque it down to the specifications and the instructions. Next, we're going to cut off the access rods from the handle nuts. Next, we're going to attach our safety cable. We're going to take our large ring, we're going to put it right through here. We're going to take our cable, we're going to go back behind our bumper beam or our frame here. Make sure you don't get any hoses in there. You're going to make sure it's not going to rub on any of the hoses or rub on anything that's going to be moving or be in the way of anything moving. And I'm going to take a 3/4 inch wrench. I'm just going to snug this up. Next thing we're going to do is with the next set of hands, we're going to set our fascia into place as close to factory as possible so we can mark our spots down here along the bottom that we need to cut out. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut away the excess of the grill that we're not going to need so we're able to access our removable bars. We're just going to take a rotary tool with a cutting blade, and I'm just going to go along the existing lines that are here and try and keep it as clean as possible. Now that the base plate install is completed, we've test fitted our front fascia to make sure we don't have to cut anything else out. We're going to go ahead and take the front fascia back off to add the wiring for our flat toe. And that'll do it for the Blue Ox base plate kit with removable arms, part number BX1728 on our 2017 GMC Acadia.